I didn't get to start that video, Steve, either. I'll just play the second thing after.
Okay.
I've been trying to fix this audio ever since they called in. They said that's all they can hear is that chicken noise, so. Tell me if you, I'm going to go live right now. Can you go on Sooner's page and let me know if you can hear us talking or not?
I'm just waiting on you all to tell me when.
Should be live.
Sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Sound
4.
check. 1, 2, 3,
I hear
4,
that.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, we're good, man.
10,
Okay.
9, 8.
That's all I wanted to know. All right.
Sure, you probably heard it in the background, anyways.
Oh, I heard
Yep, I heard me.
it. Works for me. As long as there's audio coming through, I don't give a shit. All right, let's get us back to the beginning. You guys will not hear this stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just open it up when I start talking. This is when we're actually live, or when the stuff is live. I'm going to do the intros and stuff, which you guys will not hear.
Okay.
If I can get to the beginning of this damn thing. Come on. And a welcome to a brand new episode of Sooner Limited Modified Series right here, live on Dirt Track Racing Network, bringing in the guys all the way from Oklahoma into the New York studio. Guys, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Dandy, it's all you.
All right. Good evening, fans, and welcome to another Thursday edition of the Sooner Limited Modified Series radio show. Damien, you're with us, aren't you?
Absolutely. How are you this evening?
Good. Yourself?
I am enjoying a Frosty Coors Light, the official drink of Dustin Allen.
Aha. And, of course, Mr. Steve Slater, you're on the phone with us?
Oh, yeah, I'm hanging back here.
All right. So, big show tonight. It's going to be an all Enid night. We're going to talk about Enid Speedway. We're going to talk about the Sooner Limited Modified Series upcoming trip to Enid. And we're going to talk to Kip Hughes and Mark Brill, the co-promoters of Enid Speedway. And we're probably going to talk a little bit about the Sooner Late Model Series also, since how it's relevant. And was a pretty good first race, as we talked about on our first show, our first race for the Sooner Limited Modified Series out at Red Dirt Raceway in Meeker. 2-day show out there. There's 2 really good days, and we're really looking forward to rolling into Enid on the 7th of April. That ought to be a really big show, don't you think, guys?
Oh, yeah. What a way to kick off 2018 out at Enid Motor Speedway, man. The Sooner mods, the limited mods, the 360 Sprint, or the SSO Sprint Series, going to be making a stop in the Pure Stocks. Man, I can't wait. What a way to kick it off, sprint cars at Enid.
Right. Now, actually, the first show at Enid will be the 31st of March. That'll be the first show for Enid Speedway. The Sooner Limited Modified Series won't be there until April 7th, but they are opening up the 31st, as Damian just mentioned, with the SSO, the Sooner Modified Series, Pure Stocks, E-Mods, and that's going to be a great event up there. We'll talk to them a little bit about that. We'll talk to them about how all of this came about and whatever else comes up over the course of the next hour. And, of course, you are welcome to call in if you have questions for myself or Kip or Mark or anybody or anything. I never keep that number in front of me. 518, area code 518-952-2944 is the number to call in. We'll be glad to put you on the air and talk to you about whatever it is you want to talk about. Like I said, if you got questions for our guests tonight or anything, feel free to call in. So, Damian, what were we going to talk about here to fill in the early part of this show? I've already forgotten.
Well, how about we give a little bit of a rundown of what you can expect out at Enid Motor Speedway in 2018. Don't forget, guys, there is another practice scheduled for this Sunday. Once again, it's going to be weather permitting. But, yeah, like we had alluded to, March 31st, the SSO Sprints are in the house along with the Sooner A mods, the Sport mods, where I guess we're calling them, well, since this isn't a Sooner limited modified race, I guess we can still call them the Sooner or the Sport mod series. The Pure Stocks are going to be in the house. Followed by April 6th, you got a chance to come out for another practice, and then we get things kicked off April 7th with the Spring Nationals, where we're going to have the NCRA late models versus the Sooner late models, so that ought to be a good show. Sooner Modified, the Sooner Limited Modified Series, and the Pure Stocks going to make up that bill. And then get this, April 29th, and I know, Larry, you're probably just as much ready for this show as I am, but we're going to have the USMTS Modified Series in the house, and I can't wait for that.
You're right about that. That's going to be a great show, and can't wait for them to get up there.
Yes, sir. Going to be having some more sprint cars back June 2nd as the Ameriflex OCRS Sprint Series comes out to Enid Motor Speedway along with the Sooner Modified, the Limited Sport Mods, and the Pure Stocks. July 7th, Firecracker Nationals, Sooner Late Models, Sooner Modifieds, the Sooner Limited Modifieds, and the vintage race cars are going to be out there along with the Pure Stocks. And can't wait to see those vintage cars. They're always a good show. But you know what? How about we talk to the man in charge of it all? I do believe Mr. Kip Hughes is on the line with us. How you doing this evening, sir?
Hey, I made her.
Yeah, good evening. How's it going up there in Enid land, Kip?
Oh, it's good. I just snuck inside the office here at the Speedway. I've been out doing some rock work for the fairgrounds guys, doing them a favor, because you know how that works. You do them a favor, they'll do you a favor. So
absolutely. Well, that's good. That's good. So I'm sure you're as excited as we are about getting the track back opened up again this year.
Yeah, we've been. I spent most of the winter just trying to get my ducks in, kind of in a row, is to make some improvements around here. Last Sunday was the first day we had our new pit shack out and operating, so it'll kind of speed up the pit pass side of things for the drivers and the crews, as well as give the girls selling pit passes a nice place to be a little nicer, a little safer place. Where they all kind of have their own office. They got heat and air conditioning, and a little refrigerator in there, stocked with them some drinks and stuff. So just kind of spent this winter just trying to take care of people that, help make this deal go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So take us back. We, you and I and Damien and Mark all sat down and talked on the radio show once before that didn't quite make the airwaves. And so take us back to how did all this come about? How did Kip Hughes end up promoting the track where he grew up?
Oh, well, I live right down the road. So, about every day I would drive by the place and see it sitting over there, and a place that grew up and probably kept my life on track, kept me out of trouble because I always had something to focus on. I feel like I owe a lot of where I am today to this place. So seeing it sit there was always something that, I just kept telling myself, one of these days, somebody's got to do something with that. And nobody was doing it. And, I kept thinking, man, I'd drive by this place to go to Longdale and race. And it just got to where, Longdale was slowing down and I had some resources come in with equipment stuff that, said that they would be on board if that would happen. And Mark and I had talked a little bit about it. And at the time we spoke about it, it was just kind of a, I don't think either one of us took each other serious, but deep down inside, we knew that's what we wanted to do. Then a lot of it was timing. Everything just kind of fell into place. Longdale closing down. You got a lot of hungry racers. You got Enid sitting there. I got, good resources for equipment. I'm thinking, man, if we're going to do this deal, there's no better time than right now. So I called Mark and I said, hey, remember we talked, 6 months ago about Enid Speedway? He said, yeah. I said, you want to do it? He said, yeah, okay. So I went in and met with the guys at the fairgrounds, kind of told them what I wanted to do. I told them I wanted to run one show and see how things go. And he kind of mentioned that he wanted me to do more than just one show. And I said, well, I do too, but I got to make sure it's going to work financially.
Right. I got to call before I go to run it.
Yeah. So I said, I'll guarantee you one, and we'll go from there. And then before that was all said and done, before we even got to races, well, we had 6 or 7 shows on the schedule, and away we went.
Ken, with that,
go ahead,
sorry, but with that being your first year stepping out of the driver's seat and taking on a role as a promoter, talk to us a little bit about your mindset going into it. What was you expecting out of that first season? And now that we've got that season under your belt, kind of take us through where you're at when you sit back and you've got the off season to think about it. How was that first season? Did you meet your expectations? Did you exceed them? And how are you going to change things, if any, for this season?
I would say the expectations were met. I mean, anyone that was at our shows last year, other than the one show where Mother Nature got us and my stubbornness pushed forward where we probably shouldn't have pushed forward, I take responsibility for that, but I was adamant to get it in. But outside of that, expectations were beyond that. As far as being a racer and me being me and stepping out of the race car into the promoter's shoes, the first year it was hard. It was hard to watch everybody race and not be racing, but in the same sense, it really wasn't, because it was more rewarding to see the stands full of people as a person, not just as a racer, but as a person. It was good to see that this place back alive. So I got lots of satisfaction out of that. From the other drivers that we had, the amount of respect that I got from those guys, because I am a racer, and I think most of them understand that they think I'm nuts for stepping out of the car and opening a racetrack. The amount of respect I got from everybody that was here was, I've never witnessed anything like it in my life. It was unreal. Like, some people may have seen the muffler deal I put out this year. Nobody likes to run mufflers, really, but I didn't have anybody growling about doing it. You're like, heck yeah, we'll do it, So the respect from my, fellow racers was probably, I knew there'd be some respect from everybody, but it was almost to the point where it was overwhelming, how much support I had from everybody that showed up to race.
And you're definitely right about the grandstands each and every night. Now, I was told, and I don't know if this is an accurate number, but maybe I was told that the stadium holds around 5,000 people in the stands.
I think it's closer to between 5,500 and 6,000.
Wow. And folks, I'm here to tell you, if you didn't make it out to a show last year, this place is if you've ever watched the show Madhouse, it's kind of similar seating. It's stadium-style seating, and it is just full from left to right, top to bottom. It was awesome to see.
It was, especially that first event that we had. It was just about standing room only. I don't know how many tickets you guys sold that night, but that crowd was fabulous, and they stayed. You know, we had a few issues that couldn't be helped, and the races went on a little longer than anyone would have liked for them to, but I didn't hear any complaints. I saw people sitting there until 1 o'clock, almost 2 o'clock in the morning, watching races, and just a big smile on their faces. It has been amazing what reopening Enid Speedway has meant to the people around there, to the fans. I don't know about you, Kip, or you, Damien, but I've had people come up to me and say, you know, this is great. You guys, and I mean, I'm just on the outside. I didn't have anything to do with it happening, but they're just amazing in the response to this deal.
Yeah, it's been overwhelming, and our ticket numbers, you know, they show that. It's you can't. I mean, it's unreal, really. I mean, just to see the people here, and you know, as far as from a business standpoint, it's good, but just knowing that you got that support, and like you say, seeing the smiling faces, and just seeing people that were here that you didn't even know like racing. You know, people that showed up, friends that showed up. You know, and I work out my day job. I cover pretty much the whole Northwest Oklahoma, and I'll be out of town, and people come up to me and start talking about the races. I'm going, man, I didn't know you people even came to the races. So yeah, it's been pretty just all around amazing the way everything's gone so far.
Well, your partner Mark Brill's on the phone now. Mark, welcome to the show, and tell us what it was like to get to work with Kip Hughes on this deal.
Oh, it's pretty good. You know, me and Kip raced against each other for a long time, and it all went pretty good. We get along fine, and we think alike, and we speak our mind, and we're a lot alike as far as that goes. We tell you what we think, and if it's what you like, fine. If not, fine. But that's what people really like when it comes right down to it. They don't like someone to lie and go around the truth. They may not like the truth, or what you got to say, but at least they know you're telling the truth. And that's kind of, we're both a lot alike when it comes to that. So everything's worked out great.
And I've kind of noticed you guys are like a left and right hand. You know what I mean? What one of you doesn't think of or cover or whatever, the other one's right on top of.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, if I come up with an idea, then, you know, Kip backs me up and usually adds to what I got going on, or vice versa. And that's kind of, you know, I don't think you could draw up a better partnership if you wanted to. I think everything's working fine, and, you know, he does most of the work up there, and, you know, I feel bad about that because I'm not closer, because I'd like to be more involved there, but I'm a long ways away. So, but, you know, he does a heck of a job, and like I said, both of us together can get it done. And, you know, we wish we could race every week, but right now the way the schedule fits for both of us, this is where we're at.
Well,
now, let me
go ahead.
I want to touch on that just a little bit, Mark. You say right now we're only running a limited schedule. If the second season out at Enid is even near as successful as the first one, you know, looking down the road, maybe next season, maybe 2 years, can you guys see Enid becoming more of a every weekend racetrack, as long as the fans keep coming, the cars keep coming, and you guys could make it work in your own personal schedule? Do you see that happening?
Well, that's a hard question. If it goes well every time and really good, you hate to mess with what you got because it's working.
Right.
But it's an expensive lesson if you change it and then it doesn't work. But you got to realize it's working, I think, because, you know, the economy just doesn't allow people to race every week. I'm not saying there wouldn't be people there to race every week, but, you know, it just don't fit in everybody's budget to be somewhere every week. And
right.
Kip wants to race, and I want to race a little bit. So, and then I have the Sooner late model deal. So it's hard for me to be, you know, there every weekend. And Kip's racing for, you know, driving for somebody else. It's just really hard for us to commit right at this point every weekend.
Yeah, and Kip, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that as well. Tell us a little bit about this opportunity that came up for you this year to run the NCRA series.
So last couple of years, Alan Markers filled a car for a guy to drive, and I kind of helped him a bunch, kind of mentored him some, and helped him all I could. Where we had to, I'd reclip their car for them if they tore stuff up, or just work for them and help them all along. And Alan's good friends with Tony Jackson, and he was up there at the shop one day, and they had this brand new late model sitting there, and Alan told me about it, and I said, yeah, that'd be a good car. I bet Barry'd like that. He said, well, if I buy it, I'm going to put you in it. And I thought, oh, okay. I didn't really think a whole lot about it. And he said, I'll call you. I was out at the racetrack working when he said that. And he said, I'll call you Monday, and we'll talk about it. And I thought, okay. I just really didn't think a whole lot of it. And next thing you know, the phone's ringing on Monday, and he's calling me. So I'm going to go look at that car. And so he decided that he was going to get rid of the modified stuff. And Barry, he was ready to take some time off and kind of, spend what he wanted to learn. He wanted to work on the race cars and learn more and get out of the driver's seat. So kind of like the Athena deal, the stars kind of aligned where it presented a really good opportunity. And next thing you know, we got a brand new Barry Wright late model sitting there, and we're getting crate motored up to go crate racing, and got trailers on order, and just everything's lined up to be a really, really, really top-notch race team. I never thought I'd ever see the day where I'd be fortunate enough to drive something for somebody else full time, let alone that caliber of equipment. So, I'm pretty fortunate, pretty lucky, pretty glad to have the opportunity to get in there. Alan really likes the crate deal because of the cost wise. The payback versus the, what you spend on an engine is just, it all makes good sense. So we decided we're going to go chase some NCRA points this year, and the Sooner shows that are close around, we're going to hit those. We're going to be racing at, I think, all but one of the Enid shows. So we're getting excited, getting geared up, and looking forward to it.
Well, you just took away one of the questions that I had, which was, are you going to continue to run with the Sooner late model series? And obviously that you are going to continue doing that. So I'll go to my second question, and it's got nothing to do with your race car. It's going to go back to the track. You touched on the fact that you've got a pretty good support group there. And normally when we talk to racers on our show, we give them a time to talk about their history in racing. Well, I'm sure that everybody knows your history and Mark's history in racing, but let's talk about that great support group you've got out there, because you do have a really, really good bunch of people behind the scenes.
Yeah, and, as far as the people on my end, Mark's got people that brings up with him who's mostly family, and that's what I got up here on my end is all family. My mom and my aunt, they're selling tickets under the grandstands, and then they help get the payroll stuff lined out. My stepdad, he furnishes all the equipment, does all the dirt work for us, and keeps us squared away there. My dad gives us equipment too, and he shows up occasionally and helps us. And he mainly just shows up on race day to tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I need to be doing. But, that usually doesn't get him very far, but he's here. The good thing is my grandpa's been coming to the races since the 80s, and he snuck in his entire life. So now I know where he sneaks in at, so I make him take it. I'll give him the money, but I make him pay to get in the stands just to see the satisfaction of him actually paying for something. But, no, it's, I got cousins up here helping me, and my wife's the craziest one of all because she actually allows me to do this. And, she does all the marketing stuff on my end. And that alone is a lot of work, especially for her with her job. We got 4 kids she's got to stay on top of, 5 if you count me. So she works her tail off too, keeping track of all that stuff. So,
right.
And if I lost one of them, I'd be in a bind.
Yep.
I lean on them a lot. Most of the time when they come to me and ask me questions, I tell them to handle it. Whatever they do, I'll back them up on it. And so far, it hasn't got us bit yet. It works good. You can trust everybody on Mark's end, everybody on my end. Everybody is kind of, the first year kind of warmed up to each other. Everybody knows how everybody likes to do stuff. And I think it'll be a lot smoother just on the business side of it this year because of the support, that I have behind me and that Mark brings with him.
Right. You know, you mentioned that your dad's always there telling you what to do. I work for another promoter, and he has the same problem. So don't think that that's just an isolated thing. I think that's wherever you go, it's the exact same deal. Dad always thinks he knows better or knows more. Or...
Yeah, he, like whenever it starts getting a little dusty, and he'll come up and tell me, I think we need to get some water on it, but he'll come tell me as I'm sitting in the water truck with it running full of water. To go
right,
so,
right.
We get into that a lot. Sometimes I just tell him to go sit down somewhere. And then sometimes when he's got the trophies, I'm trying to find him, he's up in the grandstands chasing girls around, and he can't find the trophies. So sometimes he's a bigger pain in the butt than he's worth, but for the most part, he does all right.
Where would you be without him, though, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be near as gray.
Right. Damian, how about one more quick question, and then we're going to need to go to a commercial break.
Yeah, I wanted to know a little bit about, from both of your guys' background and growing up in Oklahoma racing, what are some fond memories of that place that stick out for you? Talking about Enid, of course, but when you're talking about days gone by or a really good race, man, what's that one moment that sticks out for both of you guys out there?
Man, there's so many. I mean, I'm sitting in here in the office right now with two of my buddies that we're all about the same age, and we've all been out here since we were 15, 16 years old racing together. So, we ain't got enough time to tell those stories, and most of them I'm not going to tell you anyways. But I would say some of the best memories some of the best memories that I can think of out here, man, not necessarily the racing. It's just the hanging out, we used to have some mad parties out in front of the grandstands till 5 a.m. after the races were over until we drank every beer in Enid. Those are the fun stories. I can. That list just goes on forever and ever. But just the friendships made, maybe the friendships not made. The friendships broken over the years. Just all the friend stuff is what as I get older means more.
Well, hey, I think it's about time for us to take a little bit of a break. So we're going to pay some bills, folks, and when we come back on the other side of it, we're going to talk a little bit with Mark about the Sooner Late Model Series and what's on tap for them in 2018. So grab a beer and come back with us, and we'll see you in a minute.
Hello there, I'm Smiley Sitton. I want to give you a couple ideas about Smiley Racing products. What we have in the sprint car line. We have roughly 75 different lines, everything you need for your car. The most important thing we have is somebody that can help you with your problems. I solve problems all day, every day. We've got the parts you need to get going again, and the advice you need not to buy the wrong parts. Nobody gets on the line. Call and talk to a real person that does this all day, every day. I talk to more people in the industry on a daily basis, and I'm talking about vendors, manufacturers, end users, team owners, and everything, than anybody in the country. And we will continue to do that. That's how we got where we are. I've been doing this almost years. I've done this with everybody in the industry. There's not anybody in the industry that I can't call today and find out about their latest stuff and what they're doing. Don't forget, for your sprint car needs, call Smiley. You can call me and reach me directly anytime. We'll be looking forward to your call.
Today's show is brought to you by High Tech Tactical. Who's your racing tire? Steve's Auto Machine. Also brought to you by 41 Shops, Knockout Graphics, Smiley's Racing Products, Bulletproof Products, Donco Plumbing, Schonefeld Headers, FB Designs, Ibex Race Bumpers, and RLD Productions. Now, back to our show, Sooners Limited Modified Series.
Not yet?
There you are now.
Okay. We're back. Hey, glad to have you all back with us. In case you just tuned in, we're talking to Mark Brill and Kip Hughes. It is an all Enid Speedway show. We're going to talk, we already have talked to Kip a little bit about the upcoming events at Enid Speedway. And we're going to take a few minutes here and step over and talk to Mark Brill about the Sooner Late Model Series. A lot of races coming up this year for the Late Model Series, Mark.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. Looks like we're going to get to add another one in Wichita maybe sometime on a Saturday night. We got a bunch of double headers, and you know, if we get rained out at all, you just got to realize we're going to lose two, especially on those weekends. We'll lose a couple nights. So I'm not counting on that, but you know, last year we had 19 scheduled and got 14 of them in, so we're going to lose some of them. But you know, we got an occasion for these guys to race a couple of times and then take a couple of weeks off to spend some time with their family. You know, it's always hard to tell a track no if they want us to come. And, you know, we want 13 races, but when you got all these people wanting these races, it's just hard to tell them no. You know, and I wish I could do better on the promoting end of it to get the sponsorship and stuff like that to get a lot of, you know, some kind of points fund. But I haven't done that. I need to get some sponsors. I think about it every day, but I need to get somebody to help me with that end of it. But, you know, it's just one of them deals, kind of a dream come true because I've always liked them late models. And I almost bought one in 97, but 98, somewhere in that area, and backed out of it. Maybe it was 2000. But anyway, it got hot and heavy in the pro stock. And then, you know, we was talking about racing at Enid. One of my best times up there is, you know, I think we started in the I feature and made it clear to the B feature, then I was going to make the A and blow out a right rear tire, and we run all those features on the same tires. Wow. You know, and then you know, one time I started about, I don't know, 8th or 9th back, and me and Kip finished second and third, and I think if it would just have been a little bit different spot on the racetrack, me and him would have finished first and second, but we got to battle so hard the guy won the race and he had the slower car, I believe, and that was a pretty good time. But we kind of got in. I got into him. He pulled out to pass the guy, and I got into him, I believe. And he didn't know I was there, and I was coming, and it was just a deal. If it had been in any probably different part of the racetrack, it would have turned out with me and him 1 and 2, or upside down 1 and 2 or something. Who knows? But it was, you know, and that's why I always raced in Enid, because it was fun. And you know, the dry slick. If you race in Enid, you can go anywhere and win on dry slick if you get it figured out. And that's always paid off for me in Oklahoma City. When they went dry slick in Oklahoma City, I didn't have no problems with nobody because it was always locked down there. But back to the Sooner Late Model Series, you know, it's taken off, and man, we got a good bunch of guys from Texas, and you know, a good bunch of guys from Oklahoma, and we got a couple coming from Missouri. So, you know, I think it's going to be good. We're allowing the crate cars to race with us, and you know, I think it's going to be fun. Everybody's excited. And you know, that it's not. We don't race for a lot of money, but you know, I think there's more camaraderie there than there is in most series. Everybody's laughing to see each other, and we have a good time.
Right, and they're pretty well committed to the deal. I mean, even that 5.5-hour drive down to Ennis, Texas this past weekend, we had a good group of cars show up down there, mostly from Oklahoma.
Yeah, we had 15 cars total. There was we had 13 in the pits and 2 in the parking lot. And we had some other guys coming. So, and you know, we had more cars there than any other class. So,
yep.
It was Greenville. It looked like a fun little track. Of course, we got 2 more races there. So, you know, I mean, it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be. It had some personality because nothing was straight on it. It reminded me of my old track, you know, out of Meeker. It just never, nothing smooth about it. It was just up and down and around, and hang on, boys, here we come. you know.
Right. That back straightaway there at Greenville, there's not a straight part to that straightaway.
You know, there's a couple of guys there that I would know. I was kind of parked in a dangerous place because a couple of guys I know that driving our series could end up in my damn trailer where we were parked. That was
right.
So yeah, it was kind of an odd track the way it was, but you know, it's been it's a long way to drive not to get to race. You know,
it was really, really disheartening to drive that far and for the clouds to roll in and it to start sprinkling like it did. I mean, it never did come a real shower, but it doesn't have to rain a lot to run the crowd off. And once the crowds run off, there's no point in the promoter having a show because he's just not. He's going to lose his tail. Is what he's going to do. Yeah. And you touched on it really well there with when you were talking about these 2-day shows that we've got, where we've got a night at Ardmore and then a night at Ada. In the state of Oklahoma, you can pretty well bet if we get rained out on Friday night, it's probably not going to look too good for Saturday night in Ada, Oklahoma either, if it rains out in Ardmore. Now, there have been times when it's rained in Ardmore and not in Ada, but I think you're right. I think we're going to see a few of these shows that are going to, Mother Nature's going to take a dump on us. But
we're probably talking about that too much. Probably will hit every dang one of them, you know.
Quit it. Now, I see you out at October 13th at Big O Speedway in Ennis, Texas. Tell us a little about that.
Well, the guy called me. His name Mooningham.
Jim Moon. Jim
Moon. There you go. I'm bad with names. But he's supposed to be building the track down there in Ennis, Texas, and it's all going to be brand new. And it's a 1,500 to win, which is double the amount we normally get, and it's a 100-lap feature. And he wants to make that an annual deal between us and the Southern Series down there in Texas. So it's going to be, 100 laps, but, it's not a very big track, supposedly. But, he's building a new track, and I built the track. And when you start, you always start without it, and it always ends up bigger. So I hope it's bigger than what he said it's going to be. But
I can probably tell you firsthand, I know Jim Moon. He's a Midwest guy. I did some announcing for him at Montgomery Motorsports Park. He's a Midwest bull ring guy, so if he says he's going to build a tight little giddy-up-and-go racetrack, that's probably what you're going to get.
Well, that's fine. I guess you'll try it. Maybe by then I can run 100 laps if I make the feature. I may not want to make that feature.
Yeah, that would be an interesting race for sure.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Let me go down through the schedule here. Enid, Ardmore, Ada, a couple of trips to Texas, like you said, Greenville and Ennis and Petty. Nothing out in Crawford County this year.
Well, I tried my best to get hooked up with him, and the lady had some unfortunate things happen. Her husband died. And then she was not really in complete control like he was. He would just tell you that she always had to check with her son, and then they went deer hunting, and then somebody else died that helped him figure that out. And then the next thing I know, I couldn't get a hold of her. And then when I did get a hold of her, she didn't know what dates, and I had my dates filled up, and then she called back and wanted me to pick a date, but I just didn't have nothing there that I could give her. That she didn't already have plugged up, but she took on some of those races that run there in Arkansas, and they don't want us involved. Our rules are too big for them. They don't want us there. So, we could co-sanction, but they didn't want to do it. But I like Crawford County. I wish maybe I'll work on getting another one next year. But, it's just a situation. It's really, as soon as the season's over, you better take a bath and start working on the schedule, because that's exactly, if you don't get your foot in the door, it's going to, and then, people drag their feet, get back to you, and then, it's just harder to get the schedule right, especially when you're dealing with 5 or 6 different tracks,
Right.
I take stuff to the World of Outlaws or Lucas or somebody, but I guess they got somebody in the office taking care of that every day, They're not in the back of the machine shop, lying on the block or doing a block, I guess,
Right.
So, it's hard to get that schedule. You know, Enid wasn't that big a deal. You know, we just did that every Saturday, and we're going to switch. We've got to rate the race in Enid. We're going to do go from the 4th, cancel that, go to the 11th because we got conflicting scheduled deals that we have to. Me and Kip need to get straightened out, so we're going to be on the 11th.
Of what month?
So, August.
August.
It's not going to be on the 4th. It's going to be on the 11th.
Okay.
So
be sure to make a note of that.
Yep, me too, and I will be sure to post that everywhere that I can.
Yeah, we're going to get that changed, and then the sport mods won't. Steve can't be there September the 9th, so we'll just run what I call an E-mod, you know, so we don't get trouble with the International Money Collecting Agency, you know.
I love it.
That's good. So, that's the best one I've heard yet.
Yeah, well, that's what they are. You know, they don't, you know, that's exactly collecting that money.
Yep.
Some of them rules don't make any sense, but you know, but that's a side point. But you know, so we'll have to do a switcheroo on that. So that'll leave us 3 or 4 races for the sport mods to run under Enid rules or Enid's headline.
Right.
Know, so that'll
be all right.
Yeah, that'll be fine. And you know, something else we do in the Sooner or Late Model Series, most people don't realize that I really think makes the series great. And some guys gripe about it, but is the way we do our lineups after we do our first race. We go off point average. And so it's very seldom somebody leads every lap of the race.
Right.
You know, so the slow guy or the guy that's had a couple of bad nights, he can show up and say, man, I've got a chance of winning the heat race or win, you know, starting up front on the feature and having a shot at it. Because if you take some of these guys that, you know, can run away with it up front, and you put them back there about 9th or 10th, you know, let's see how big their muscles are then. You know, it's harder for them to get up there, even though they got a car that costs $50,000 or $100,000 more money. You know, when you got some of these drivers we got, and they're 4 wide by themselves, you know, they're hard to get around. So it does make it better for the fans. I mean, the fans see a race and not a train, everybody following each other, you know.
Exactly.
I think that helps. And I haven't talked to Kip about this, but I assume on all our classes, we'll just go off point average every night after the first night like we normally would, but instead of a draw. But like I said, I haven't talked to him, and I meant to ask him about that about 5 times, but we'll just have to talk about that. So,
right.
Well, I think Kip might still be on with us, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm still here. I've been out at the speedway shutting all the breakers off and locking things up. So.
How many hours in a day do you put in out there, Kip?
Oh, I usually get off work at 3:30, and I'll come here till. It just depends on what all needs to be done. I'd say average probably 3 or 4 hours a night out here doing something. You know, I try to spend one night out here and one night working on the race car, and another night out here, another night working on a race car. So I'm really fortunate to have the guys that I'm driving for this year because, you know, like I haven't even seen the car since it left the racetrack, and they've already got it washed and up on jack stands. They pulled the transmission out. You know, so I started on maintenance stuff, got it ready for me, so I don't have to spend all night, you know, doing that kind of stuff. So it's a huge help.
Well, Kip, what do you think about that? Do you think we're just going to run everybody off point average after the first race?
Works for me.
Yeah, I think that's best.
What do you guys think about having the USMTS show making a stop out at Enid this year? How big is that going to be?
I think it'll be good. You know, Todd had contacted me wanting to do a show, and we finally got it worked out to where we can, you know, have one and make it happen. So I'm excited to see the guys come and put on a show for us.
Yeah, that one is definitely circled on my calendar as well. I can't wait for that. But let's talk a little bit about 2018 out there. Is there anything you're going to do differently this year as far as scheduling or as far as routine running through the evening? Is there going to be any new rule changes? Is there anything that you would like to do different this year out there?
I got a set of pure stock rules actually put out. There's some small changes into what there were, what the Longdale rules were before, and most of those changes that I made are just cost-saving changes, not anything big. Motor rules are still the exact same. Just stuff that would just make sense, with the aftermarket parts available for everybody to buy to save a bunch of money. We kind of cut back on our classes a little bit because of the turnout and support that we had last year. So we'll try to get things done a little quicker. Right now I'm trying to figure out a good, safe plan to get everybody, or a safe way to get everybody to quit from running off on the horse track so far, because I kind of blended that in a little bit so it wouldn't be such a drastic change. And, that kind of bit me because I got everybody running off on the front straightaway now. So we're working on trying to, get that lined up, try to keep the dust out of the stands. And, just basically all the changes we're making is nothing really for me. It's just going to make it a better show for our fans and, try to cut back on some costs for their drivers.
Are you still planning on having live music at before every race?
No. That was kind of a cool deal, but, when you get there in June and August and stuff, that deal starts at 2 o'clock, and then, if your races go good, the races are over at midnight. That's 10 hours of entertainment, and there's just, I don't think people really want 10 hours of entertainment. I think
right.
It just didn't have the support that I thought it would have. But it was cool. It was fun, and we may have if we get where we can get our shows in a little quicker, we might start doing something afterwards because I like to hang out and drink beer with everybody. So we may do something like that, but no, not beforehand.
Right. Well, gentlemen, if you don't mind, I need to pay a few bills here again. We want to mention that High Tech Tactical has provided us with a deer rifle to raffle off. We are selling tickets for that. I ought to have this information in front of me. Here it is. It is a 270 Savage Trophy Hunter rifle. I believe it comes with a scope. And it looks like the ticket prices are $10 per ticket, $20 for 3 tickets, or $40 for 7 tickets. So you can see right there, there's pretty good savings on the 7-ticket package price there. And we really appreciate High Tech Tactical being on board and sponsoring the Sooner Limited Modified Series. Also, we want to thank FB Graphics and Design, Hoosier Racing Tire, Schoenfeld Headers, Knockout Graphics, Smiley's Racing Products, Bulletproof Products, Donco Plumbing, Total Custom Carbs and Dyno, 41 Shocks, Steve's Auto Machine, Images ×2, and Ibex Race Bumpers for all of their help in getting the Sooner Limited Modified Series to the track and helping us to keep this thing going. And I'm sure that Mark would want me to mention that the Sooner Late Model Series is still looking for sponsors. If you'd be interested in helping us out, large or small, we would definitely appreciate that. As we mentioned, our next race for the Sooner Limited Modified Series is April 7th at Enid Speedway, and the next race period will be March 31st at Enid Speedway. We'll have the Sooner Modified Series out there, as well as SSO, which is the Sprint Series of Oklahoma, Pure Stocks, and E-Mods. So it's going to be a great show on the 31st, and then right back out there in Enid on the 7th for another big show with, I believe, all three Sooner series, try saying that with 3 times fast. All 3 Sooner series showing up in one place at one time. And, man, that's as good as you're going to get it anywhere right there, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And remember, guys, if you're coming up from the south on 35, the direct Enid exit is closed. ODOT is kind of taking their time on this. I remember every weekend last time I went to Enid last year, I had to go through that. But the westbound exit is closed, so off of 35, take the exit like you would be heading towards Tulsa, and as soon as you take that exit, about 200 to 300 feet up on your left will be a U-turn to get back on the, I believe that's 412 West, and you can head right into Enid.
Is that legal? Is that legal?
That's the way they got it.
As long as you don't get shot.
Big truck around right there, like a semi, pulling a race car, you can make that loop.
I'm guessing that's what they're thinking, because that's the way I had to go last time. I know for the first practice we had up at Enid this year, I didn't know that exit was closed, and I got to it and ended up making about a 30-mile round trip to go up and turn around and come back. So,
So did I.
I was about to say that's probably good information, because there's probably a lot of us out there that didn't know that, and we'd be cruising along up there, and that extra half hour wasn't really in our plan. So thanks very much for that information. That's the kind of thing that people want to tune into the show to hear, is stuff like that.
I would say if you got a trailer with you, it's probably better to take the 51 exit, or Stillwater exit, and go head west there, and then you can take 74 highway north.
Very good.
And that'll put you go 74. You can over there too. Well, I don't know.
Well, let's get off there. Zach got off at Airport Road and made a left, went underneath the bridge, went down about a half a mile, made a right, and went right up to 412.
Yeah, that's
now, folks, you may have to do a little experimentation on how to get to Enid Speedway this year, especially if you're coming from I-35. Honestly, I drive up there, and I couldn't even tell you how I get there. I just know that I go through Breckenridge, and the next thing I know, there I am at Enid Speedway.
Well, hey, Kip, we were talking a little bit about all the sponsors behind the Sooner Limited Modified Series. Tell us a little bit about the people behind you that help get you guys going race to race.
Oh, man, you put me on the spot. We're right in the midst of getting everybody squared away from last year. We got a bunch of them. I sold those things cheap because I wanted a bunch of them. I wanted to look good. I wanted to have lots of sponsors out there, and in turn it worked. We got them from Dollar Transportation, Lytle Sand, Dunbrook Machine, Jane's Machine, Grounded Electric, Hurt Reynolds. Oh, man, the list goes on and on. Speed Tech Automotive, Barnstormers Restaurant, Mac Tools, Hot Shop Power Washing. The list goes on and on and on. And I feel bad for not having a list in front of me. Like I tell you.
Well, we should have warned you.
Hey, folks, I can tell you, I was up in the press booth the other day, and there is a notebook sitting right there for the announcers that is at least 3 pages long, full of sponsors, and it's not just one column. It's like
that's great,
2 columns. And what I noticed and what I thought was really cool, Kip, was a good 50 to 60% of all those sponsors were local Enid businesses.
Yeah, I would say, a huge number of them that are local. Like I said, the support has been, it's just unreal. I had Heidi put a list together just for the announcers so that we could, just so we could get everybody's name out there and do our job and hold up our end of the bargain, to get their names out there. And this year we're gonna do things a little bit different. We're gonna talk to all of our sponsors and any of them that want to come up and to the tire and kind of do a little interview, talk about your business, what they do, the services they do for people. We're gonna give them a chance to get on the mic at every show and take up some of that dead air time with kind of getting the names out, stuff like that. So, and that was all my wife's idea. So, again, kudos to her for for coming up with stuff like that.
Right on.
That's great.
That's good information to have. I'm going to have to do a whole lot of research. So, well, guys, I think we're getting to that point of the show where it's about that time, isn't it, Larry?
Yeah, it's pretty close to that time. So, I guess we will call an end to another edition of the Sooner Limited Modified Series show. I would really like to thank our guests tonight, Mark Brill and Kip Hughes with Enid Speedway in the Sooner Late Model Series and the Sooner Modified Series. And, of course, all of you folks for tuning in as you do. Damien, thank you for your help, and Steve. Richie, of course, for getting us on the air, and Dirt Track Racing Network for giving us a place to do this. I think it's an awesome thing, and I'm glad that we're doing it, and I hope that we have some plans, or we're talking about some plans this year to try to kind of expand the show to cover more series. And, I know what I was going to ask. I was going to say that I'm seeing messages on the Facebook page, especially for the late model series, for some fans of some other tracks that want the late model series to come to their track. And I was going to say, well, probably the best way to do that is to tell your local promoter, hey, we want to see these guys come to our track. So for those of you fans out there that are wanting to see the late model series come to, say, Lawton or Creek or somewhere like that, man, the thing to do is get a hold of that track promoter and have him get a hold of Mark Brill this year and try to get us on the schedule for next year, because as Mark said, the schedule, we're having a pretty good problem with the late model series. When you've got too many races, that's a really good problem to have. And when you've got a lot of tracks that want you to come to their track, that says a little bit for the series, I think. And the limited modified series is kind of having the same problem this year. I know that Stevie's been overwhelmed with the number of tracks that want him to try to get a date in. And, we want to race everywhere. We want to put on a good show for everybody. We want all of our fans to get a chance to see us. So sure, if you're wanting to see the Sooner Late Model Series or the Sooner Modified Series or the Sooner Limited Modified Series at your home track, put a bug in your promoter's ear. Where do you think they get the idea of what they want to bring out there? You are the fans. You tell them what you want to see. I think that's a great way to do things.
Amen. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree on that. Guys, I want to thank y'all for being on.
Hey, thank y'all for having us.
Hey, before you guys go, I'd like to share a little something with y'all that you guys can maybe share down your way, and share with our listeners as well. We also have a new thing that we've launched this year, 2018. We're working like crazy to get it out there to the race car drivers, the teams, and the promoters and everybody. But we've launched a new campaign called Dirt Fund Me. It's a complete website dedicated to micro sponsorships for the drivers, the teams, the promoters. Pretty much anything to do with dirt track racing, you can go on, sign up, create an account, and create a campaign. It works very similar to how GoFundMe is, but it is actually dedicated to dirt racing and dirt racing only. It's just something that myself and another gentleman in Ohio come up with as an idea for race car drivers to come up with some micro sponsorships. So now with Dirt Fund Me, you don't have to have just businesses or local shops or race car parts and this and that sponsor you. You can get your fans, your friends, your co-workers, your business bosses, anything like that to throw you a little bit of money your way and sponsor you like this, and you get every drop of the money that you work for, even if you don't reach your goal. If you set a goal for $5,000 but only get $2,500 of it, you get the $2,500 of it. So it's something new that we come up with, and if you guys would like to share that down your way, it's dirtfund.me.
One more time, Dirt Fund Me.
And dirtfund.me.
And that'd be a really good deal because, like, say a guy wants to help a racer out, but he's only got $5 or $10, and he thinks, well, my $5 or $10 isn't going to do anything. Well, he can kick in his $5 or $10 to that Dirt Fund Me, and somebody else can kick in $10 or $20, and somebody else kick in $100, and the next thing you know, a driver's got a couple of $100 there to help him out.
Absolutely,
and
you
like
guys,
a great idea.
And they can set rewards too, so they can. I have it set up in there so that they can set a reward. So if they actually give a specific amount of money, say $50, they might get a hoodie and a decal for doing that from their race team. Or if they give 100 or more, they can actually, you can give a reward out as buying a pit ticket or something, so your favorite fan can come in and sit with the team and watch you race and watch you guys do what you're doing right there in the pits. So there's different, options that you can create yourself. It's all up to the driver what he wants to give away as a reward. He can give away cups, T-shirts, hoodies, whatever he wants to. It's totally up to him how he wants to work that or how the team wants to work it. And it's open to everybody in dirt racing. It's open for the teams. If the driver doesn't use Facebook or use the internet, a member from the team can bring it in and sign up and create a campaign. And like I said, it's open for the promoters as well, because I know sometimes the promoters are always looking for an extra few bucks to upgrade something in the kitchen or upgrade something, speakers down or something. You guys are short and you need that extra sponsor to get that thing. So the promoters are welcome to create a campaign to do something like that as well.
Excellent. Sounds like a great deal to me. Well, all right, Kip and Mark, look forward to seeing both of you on the 31st of March up there at Enid Speedway. And, of course, I'll probably see you, Mark, in between now and then. Damien, I know I'll run into you up there at Enid, and Stevie, we'll be all there together. Be like old home week again.
Yeah, I need to get with Mark and have him swing by over the house, too, because I got something to track that Kip and I talked about.
Cool.
I got a refrigerator for the track.
Oh, okay.
Fully stocked. Maybe you can swing by.
That'll work.
So we have a video for you all tonight. If you might want to stay online and watch the video. I guess that's still going on, Richard, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Right after the show tonight, we're going to recap the Sunday night's event out at Red Dirt Raceway, Meeker, Oklahoma. A great show that was put on out there, and you guys will enjoy that, I'm sure. So if you want to hang out here and keep watching the video, then you're more than welcome to. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. And on behalf of Damian Bean and Mark Brill, Kip Hughes, Stevie Slater, Richie White, I'm Larry Carr, and we're going to say good night.
All right, everyone.